Byrd.
Hi, hello. Challenge today is to not fall asleep or to tell you all about insurance. If you manage to stay awake, you can have a sandwich. So I'm Rob. I'm from Howden Insurance here in Malvern, just 5 minutes away. I am one of the commercial account executives at the Malvern branch there. I stole this presentation from a colleague from our marketing department, so some of it wasn't put in there by me, but I'll skip across the most boring parts. Started off with a bit about myself. There we go. I was born in 1993, that makes me 31 years old, unfortunately. I was born in Cheltenham, grew up in Evesham, went to Prince Henry's, for those of you from Evesham. I was raised by my mum on her own in the council house. We barely had 2 pennies to rub together, fed us before she fed us out, sort of thing, with my brother and my sister there, my 2 younger siblings. I've had 8 jobs. I went through and counted them since I was 13, so that does include a paid round, which I did for 5 years. Did a paid round, but most of my jobs have been selling things. So I've done sales door to door for Anglian windows. I've done TVs and cameras in Currys, but then before I did insurance, I did Sky TV. So if you was ever walking through Crown in Worcester, I might have shouted at you about your broadband and your TV. And that's a old picture from me in my Sky uniform in the Crown Centre there. 3.5 years ago, so about 4 years ago, I was let go from Sky and we was made redundant. That's why the stand's not there anymore. And I was approached by a recruiter who said, "Do you want to work in insurance?" And I said, ugh. But I haven't looked back since I started. Really, I love learning something new and going into that world completely new. I started on car and home insurance. I've moved across, I did some boat insurance for a bit, I did commercial marine insurance, and now I've moved back to just commercial insurance over here in Malvern. 2, this is the number of films I've had shown at Cannes. I am a film production graduate. Along with my best friend from high school, we make short films as a hobby on the side, and we fund that for our YouTube channel. Divided We Stand actually got enough awards to have us qualify for the BAFTAs. We didn't get nominated, but we were allowed to enter the BAFTAs, which you have to win so many awards to get that far. So I am a BAFTA qualified filmmaker. They are available on YouTube if you want to see them. Both war films, they're really good. Trust me. And then this is my family. This is my fiancée Karina, my daughter Ara, who is 2 years old now. That's an old photo. And there's my dog as well. And I've described him as a cross between a princess and a pain in the neck, which is really does sum him up. But there we go. Next. Wait, weren't you A-Plan? Yes. When I first started working for Howden Group, we were A-Plan. The office there in Malvern was A-Plan. The office in Worcester that you'll see on Broadgate Street was A-Plan. Howden is a collection of a lot of groups. Howden in its own right were a company before we were rebranded, but the whole idea was to rebrand the group to bring us all into line with each other so we can work together more efficiently. But the big ones there are A-Plan and Aston Lark. But Bruce Stevenson, if you are Scottish, you'll probably heard of them because they're massive up in Scotland, or were massive up in Scotland. They're now part of the Howden Group. So all these different parts have become one. If you own a boat as well, you probably know Knox Johnston, because they're massive in the boat world. This I didn't make, this is from Howden. Talks about our 200 local branches, 200 branches now across the UK and across Europe. Got 4.8 stars Trustpilot. Over 100 different products, 100 different insurers that we work with, 2,000 colleagues, 1 million policy holders, and our net promoter score is apparently 84%, which I hear is quite good. There we go, this is about our branch here in Malvern, so if you haven't seen it, that's what it looks like there. You can see as well in the window our community notice boards. So if you have got business cards that you want me to put up on the notice boards, give them to me, I'll go put them back when I get back into the branch. The one around the other side, we advertise events, so if you've got any events that you want to advertise, it's free spot up there for you as well. We are a small branch. We're headed up by my manager, Ryan Lane. He's been in insurance for 20 years. If you're local, you might know him. He's very involved in local bits and bobs. We have moved about a bit, so the branch that I'm in used to be Clark Roxburgh. That branch, Clark Roxburgh, then sold to Jalf. Jalf sold half of their policies to Marsh and half of their policies to A-Plan. So we became A-Plan. That's when we moved down to just below the crossroads where I worked for A-Plan, and then we've moved up the road a bit and we're now just across the road from Iceland in our much bigger branch there in 2022. There's only 9 of us in the branch, so it's not like a huge massive office of people working in there, but there's 4 people that do the personal lines, car and home, three of us that do the commercial. That's me, George and Jess. And then we have Amy, who's our accountant, of course, our branch manager, Brian. And that's all of us. What's next on here? He says. There we go. Yeah, again, I didn't put this together. It just outlines the kind of policies that we can do in the Malvern branch. So it just goes over home, specialist home, motor, specialist motor, liability policies, but we also do like indemnity and all sorts of specialist business. But as Howden, we do have access to London markets. I could go to London markets, let alone Howden as a group. For any type of insurance that is needed for a business, personal, we can do it somewhere at Howden. What's this one? Oh, the principles of insurance that people often forget. Now, I did put this one together. Reinstatement. So one of the core principles of insurance is that you get returned to the same financial position before a claim happened. So if you're not getting paid out enough to put you back in that position, then you're not being insured correctly. If you have an accident in your car, it gets written off, and they're not giving you enough money to replace that car with a like-for-like car, then they're not doing the core principle of insurance, which is getting you back to where you started. So if you ever end up in that situation, it's worth sort of bringing that up. You're not doing what I bought. You're not doing your end of the bargain. Treating clients fairly. People don't know about this one because it's an insider deal. But one of the FCA's core guidelines is treating clients fairly. It's something that all sort of brokers, intermediaries, anybody you talk to about insurance does work to. So if you feel like you're not being treated fairly, I'd question it. And generally, it's a trick that we use with insurers. So if we're having a problem with getting something for a client of ours, we'll say to the insurer, do you think this is fair for the client? Are you treating the client fairly? And quite often, funny enough, they'll go, actually. And so it's one of those things, if you're not being treated fairly, bring it up. TCF is this TCF. Insurable interest. Now, you'll be surprised how many questions we get of this. Can I insure my friend's car? No, you can't. You don't have any interest in it. You can be insured to drive your friend's car, but you can't insure your friend's car. Can I insure my friend's house? No, you don't own it. How would you can't benefit off an insurance for something you don't own. I got asked this one the other day on a lady who is running a sandwich shop from a premises that in the night time becomes an Indian takeaway. She said, my landlord is going to cover my liability. How does that happen? You can't cover somebody else's liability. It's not his fault. It wouldn't be claimed on his insurance if you did something wrong. So it's all about insurable interest in that regard. This is the boring one. Oh, I love lots of information. Everybody's falling asleep now. It's the one big question. I know you're asking, why has my insurance gone up so much? It's all, I'll sum it up for you. Basically, the cost of claims extended past the premiums that are taken in the 2022 and 2023 policy year periods. So Aviva, for example, the man at top of Aviva told our CEO that they paid out £107 for every £100 in premium they took last year. So that's not including their business costs, that's just what they paid out in claims. So Aviva made a loss on personal insurances last year. You see this happening as an effect of the pandemic. Obviously, nobody knew it was coming, nobody could predict the pandemic. But because you've got longer times to repair things, the increased cost of repairing things, obviously materials became more expensive, harder to get. Obviously, tradesmen weren't available to make those repairs. It just made everything take longer and made everything more expensive. Due to the changes that we have actually seen in the market, a lot of insurers have actually dropped out of insurance, different types of insurance. So Zurich, if you're with them for your home and your car, you're not with them anymore after this year. They've stopped doing it entirely. Whether they'll come back into the market, we don't know. RSA, Royal Sun Alliance, very big insurer, don't do home insurance anymore because they lost money on it. They can't afford to do it anymore. And then LV will still sell you insurance as a general public, but if you have insurance from LV for a broker, it will now be via Allianz. And the reason they did that is so that they can offer you a different product under a different name, offering you less cover for the same amount of money. It's just their way of recouping their losses over the last couple of years. And as I put here, in saying this, I don't expect any sort of sympathy for these huge insurance giants. They should have seen it coming, but as I said, nobody could predict the pandemic. Now, obviously, the graph, what this shows, everybody's looking at it really confused, especially you, Steve.
No, I was trying to read the small print at the bottom there.
The small print, okay, I'll tell you what that says now. It says, if you have a Land Rover or a Range Rover, all of the above has been amplified by increased thefts. That's likely why you're paying over £2,000. Does anybody actually have a Land Rover or a Range Rover?
I've got numerous friends that sold for that reason. They couldn't even get insurance, they were
Yeah.
declined.
Land Rover and Range Rover can't insure their own vehicles. The company Great Lakes used to provide Land Rover insurance backed out because they get stolen so much. So if they can't insure them, neither does Aviva, neither does Howden, neither does Howden. Nobody wants to do them. So yeah, insurance, like the cheapest we saw was just under £2,000 mark. And yeah, it's no, if you've got a Land Rover, sell it just for the insurance. Honestly, it's not worth it, as you say. What the graph is showing is the amount of time it's taken to pay out claims. So you can see in this graph, so claims from 2019, there was still over £3 billion worth of claims from 2019 being paid out last year. And this, it doesn't really show the history of it, but there was a bigger graph, but it was a lot more boring, less colourful. But basically, this has had a knock-on effect, because we're still paying out claims this year from 2019, the claims from 2020 that were now in the pandemic that were slowed down by everything, there's even more than £3 billion worth of those being paid out this year. It's had a knock-on effect. Everything has slowed down. When things slow down, people need to be put in alternative accommodation, and loss of business claims go up. So the cost of these claims go up. It costs the insurers more, so therefore, unfortunately, the only way to fix it is to put everybody's premiums up so we can get back on top of things. And so I'm not looking for sympathy for any of the insurers, but hopefully it goes some way to explain why your insurance has gone up. That would be a question. I've got a few tips actually, but did anybody have questions about that last one? No? Cool, easy peasy. Few tips to keep the cost of your car insurance down. So some people think some of these things are backwards. So add a driver. So if you're an only driver on your car insurance policy, you're paying too much for insurance. Find a friend, find a family member that has a similar or better driving risk than yourself, and you will save money on your car insurance. Some of the insurers that we work with, for example, you can give a discount for up to 5 drivers. So if it's somebody that's got loads of points, if it's somebody that's got driving convictions or accidents, then they're going to be a higher risk and they're going to put your insurance up. But if you've got anybody you know that has a similar or better risk, they can actually save you money. So just ask around driving and see if it will save you that money. You never know. Make sure you declare additional vehicles. This one people think, I don't know, people seem to think that if they don't declare the vehicles it will be cheaper, but I think this one makes sense to me. It means you're driving that vehicle less. If you've got a second car, you're driving split between 2 cars. So you're driving that one less, so it's less risk. Also theft risk apparently is less when you have multiple vehicles. Also, do you park in your garage? So if you park in your garage, you're actually, I won't say likely, you could save money by saying you park on the driveway. And the reason being is insurers are getting claims all the time where it's, oh, I only left it on the driveway this once at night and it's been stolen and worse, it's on the driveway. And they're like, well, we don't want to pay your claim because you said it was in the garage. Oh, I only left it out once, I got back late last night. And it's all those arguments. Those arguments take time, cost insurance money, so they'd rather just be honest, say, I park it on the driveway every now and then, and that's how I'm going to declare it. Any questions on that? No? Perfect. And I'm just going to finish up with that. We are hosting in just 2 days' time on Thursday. I think a lot of people in the room are coming. On Thursday down at the Rugby Club, we have got a free business networking event to come to from 9 till 11. So if you do want to pop down, I've got leaflets for you to take away or do scan the QR code. Any questions at all? Is everybody still awake? Just about. Did I make it? So I didn't go into fire breathing, did I?
You've still got time, you've still got time.
Random question for you then. I was declined car insurance. I drive an old Honda CRV. I haven't had any claims or anything else, no why. Why would I have been declined? I rang that and they wouldn't give me an answer.
Who was it a single insurer that declined you? And did they accept cover and then decline you, or did they just decline you?
And then the next one that I went to online, they declined me as well. And I thought, oh, nothing's changed.
So it could be down to a data mismatch, but it could be down to that vehicle. So if it could be, like you said, an old CRV, so it seems like it's completely innocuous, but we have things like a Honda Jazz. So if you know a Honda Jazz, that's an old person's car, so you think, oh, that's going to be a really low insurance group. No, because old people drive it, old people crash cars. So the Honda Jazz is actually a really hard insurance group, so it costs loads of money. So it's one of those ones, even like the insurers may have had a particularly bad history with CRVs. They might be stolen, they might have had people you don't know driving and crashing them. It might be even the address you live at. So the addresses have come down now to the postcode. So if you've had, even on your road, a vehicle stolen or a crash happen to people on your road, that can affect your insurance, even though it's completely none of your fault. So I can't say specifically why you declined. But say if you were coming to us for your insurance, we might approach a panel of 25, 30 insurers. There's definitely going to be some declines on the bottom there. And it might be that you don't fit into the driver category. So it could be as simple as that.
So when you fill out the form and it says, have you been declared insurance before, I'm now going to say yes. No, I haven't.
So a decline when it's happening like that is when you've placed cover with them, so you've gone, yes, I'll have that, and they come back and said, actually, sorry, we weren't meant to offer you that quote. So that would be a decline, so they've offered you a quote and then they've declined you. Also, if it asks about cancellations in that regard as well, it's only when the insurers cancel it. So if you ever end up, and a lot of you are far too old to be driving with black boxes, but if you ever have a policy where they threaten to cancel your policy, just call them up and cancel it before they do, because it will save you so much money in the long run. Because if you have a cancelled policy, you have to report it on every single insurance you have for the rest of your life, and it will put your premiums up. So yeah, you don't want to cancel policies, the last thing you want. Any more questions? No?
Superb. Cheers, Rob.